Hi, welcome to Retiring Well. Folks, we got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about Social Security, when should you take it, income planning, what does that look like, Roth conversions, when should you do those, the benefits of holistic planning, and finally, the 3 success questions you have to answer in making your retirement vision a reality. So stay tuned.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well, plan to retire well.
Listen, in this segment, I want to talk to you about Social Security. Now, if you did not know, most of us have to wait till full retirement age to get the full benefit, as they call it. And that depends on when you were born. That could be age 65, could be age 67, or anything in between. But if you didn't know, you can take Social Security actually early at age 62. Now, they're going to discount your benefit, typically 75% of what it would have been at full retirement age. Now, once you get to full retirement age, you can also wait to take Social Security. You can wait to age 70. And there's good reasons to do that, because each year you wait, they'll grow it by 8%, plus whatever the CPI was. If you do the math, the difference between taking it at age 62 and taking it at age 70 is almost double. So if you don't have pension income or very little pension income, Social Security could be your greatest guaranteed account, and maximizing it is going to be very important. Now, and there's some cases where you can't do that and you have to take it early. That's fine, but that's all the more reason why you want to have a good income plan to make sure how it fits in with the overall picture. Now, there's some other good reasons why you might want to wait to take Social Security. What if you're that person that's stopped working, all right, and you've got a lot of money in your IRA accounts? Well, you're going to have a lot of room in that lower bracket, especially if you wait to take Social Security. That would be a great time to do some good tax planning and aggressively take money out of those IRAs, because guess what? You're buying out Uncle Sam in the low tax bracket. Now, we've been given a huge gift with the Tax Reform Act, that because where we were in the low bracket, maybe 15%, it's now 12%. Or if we were in the 25% bracket, it's now the 22% bracket. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that sunsets now in another 6-7 years, meaning it goes back to the old rates. So we have a huge opportunity in the next 6-7 years. If we're always going to be in that low bracket, for example, why wouldn't we be utilizing that bracket as much as we can to buy Uncle Sam out at 12 cents on the dollar versus 15 down the road? Now, another thing you have to consider when you're looking at Social Security is if you're married, the surviving spouse gets to keep, whoever dies first, and I could pick on he or she, but whoever dies first, that surviving spouse gets to keep the greater of the 2 Social Securities. So sometimes in our planning, it might make great sense to have maybe one take it a little early, but let the other one, maybe the one that has the greater benefit, wait to age 70, because that's going to become the survivor benefit. So all the more reason why you want to take a look at this, you want to do an income plan and figure out how Social Security fits into it. Hi, my name is Larry Flynn. I'm a financial advisor, senior partner here at Centennial Wealth Advisory. Listen, with this coronavirus, it created unprecedented times. High unemployment, you got a lot of businesses not reopening. Whether there comes a treatment or a vaccine for this disease, we don't know. There's just a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. But your financial well-being is still very important. And if you're in retirement or near retirement, then getting some good, sound financial advice is going to be critical. So in these unprecedented times, we're understanding that safety is a concern, and so we're offering a couple options. If you're willing to talk by phone or want to do a virtual meeting, whether that be Zoom or something like that, we're offering that ability to do that. If you're somebody that does want to meet in person, we're trying to accommodate that as well. We're saying, we're not going to have any 2 clients meet at once. We're sanitizing it before and after you're here, and we're keeping the proper social distancing in place while we meet. So if these are a couple options you might want to pursue, we encourage you to just give us a call on the number that's on the screen, or visit our website at cen-wealth.com, and just basically you can set up a meeting there. Stay safe. If you have some financial concerns and need to address those, then certainly give us a call. Hi, welcome back. Listen, in this segment, I want to talk about income planning. Okay, one of the biggest questions people have when they're taking income, if they're at retirement, is this money going to last? Very, very important. And we want to set a plan ahead of time so we can plot that out based on what your income needs are to make sure that you're not going to run out of money before you die. Very, very important. Now, as a general rule, when you're developing an income plan like that, you want to be dealing with low volatile accounts. You know, we've talked about this before. If you're taking 4 or 5% for income, that's what you need, and we can grow that account by, 5, 6%, well, then that's going to work all day long because I'm just pulling the cream off the top, right? But if I'm that person that needs 4 or 5% income and the market drops to half its value, now that 4% becomes 8, 9, 10%. How am I going to grow it back? I now forever got to get better than 10% rate of return to even start to grow that portfolio back from where it fell. So very, very important if you're doing income planning, we better be dealing with low volatile accounts. The other thing we want to do in income planning is make sure that we grow as much as we can possibly do, grow those guaranteed accounts. You know, if I'm somebody that has very little or no pension at all, and I've got Social Security, then growing that Social Security benefit is going to be a huge part of this. You know, as you're aware, you can take it at age 62, you can take it early, but if I can wait, if possible, if I can wait as long as possible to get to maybe age 70, I can just about double that benefit. That's a huge thing if that's my only guaranteed source of income coming in. So in income planning, you want to deal with low volatile accounts from your savings, but you want to grow those guaranteed accounts as well. It's going to help us in the income planning. Now, I want you to be careful. I've had a lot of people out there, they'll go to an advisor, they'll get an income plan, okay? A lot of times it'll be this thick, and they'll go, hey, based on this plan, the advisor told me that I can live to 110 and my money will never run out. I'm all good. He said I'm fine. We have to understand in those plans, there was a growth rate assumption put in there, meaning they had to assume some rate of return that they figured that portfolio was going to grow by as you were taking income. Now, not to make this oversimplistic, but think of this. If they put a growth rate assumption in there of like 5, 6%, and they said you could live to 110 and never run out, you understand that has to make 5, 6% every single year. That's the assumption they put into that plan. Is that the way markets work? Absolutely not. I encourage you, if you're somebody that's not done that income planning yet, or you want answers to some of those questions we talked about, I encourage you, give us a call. This is what we do for our clients, especially those that are near or in retirement. So give us a call. Thank you.
Folks, I hope you found that interesting. If you're somebody that doesn't have pension income, again, Social Security is probably going to be your greatest guaranteed account. So, maximizing that the best you can is going to be very important. Now, we actually have the tools to take you, maybe your spouse, if you're married, take your Social Security benefits and kind of tell you how to maximize, get the greatest cumulative benefit over your lifetime. Now, I will tell you that when we do that analysis, there's one factor we have to enter into this program, and that is, when are you going to die, right? Well, we don't know what that is. So we're going to have to kind of arrive at an estimate. Some people use their family history. Honestly, that's probably 1/3 of it. Most of it is your lifestyle, but when do you, how long do you think you're going to live? And then we can actually take your Social Security and figure out the best way for you to take Social Security to get the greatest cumulative benefit. So if there's somebody that wants to know that, certainly give us a call. It's good to wait to take Social Security, but if in waiting, where's your income going to come from, right? If you're working, then maybe you're working a little longer while you grow your Social Security. If you're not going to work, then what's that? You're going to have to pull that from your savings, right? So in trying to maximize Social Security, one of the balancing acts is, if I've got to take from my savings, we don't want our savings to go down to critical levels, right? To where we don't have sufficient liquidity when we're in retirement, all right? And what I mean by liquidity is large amounts of money for those things that are unforeseen down the road, maybe healthcare or the like. So, there's a balancing act there you got to play. So just the pure fact that we want to maximize Social Security, we have to be cognizant of these other issues. The other thing I didn't talk about is you can take Social Security at 62 but they penalize you for taking it early until you get to full retirement age. So I think for 2020, I think for every $2 you make over 18,240, they deduct $1 of your Social Security benefit. So if you're somebody that's still working and you're making significantly amount over that, then you're probably not going to want to take it early. You're going to want to wait till you stop working. And then again, when I was talking about income planning, folks, it is much more challenging today. Back in the day, a lot of people, when they got soon to be retired, they'd move into what's called fixed income accounts or bonds. They'd kind of pull away from equities because of the risk. They'd get into the safer investments like fixed income. But back when, the rates were a lot better. Today the yields on a lot of these fixed income accounts are so low, it's really hard to turn that into a good sustainable income. So the challenge today is happen to have a little bit more mix of equities or riskier investments while we're trying to structure a portfolio for income. So having it be structured appropriately and correctly is very, very critical. Not paying attention and having a big market loss, like I said in that segment, can blow any income plan right out of the water. So you want to make sure you have good, consistent income, good returns, but really want to stay away from that volatility. So anyway, I want you to stay tuned because we're going to talk next about Roth conversions and the benefits of holistic planning. So stay tuned.
If you're retired or soon to be retired, let us help you plan to retire well. Centennial Wealth Advisory specializes in retirement planning and has offices in Traverse City, Cadillac, Petoskey, and Gaylord. We'll never pressure anyone to become a client. Our goal is to inform and educate. Simply schedule a meeting at one of our Northern Michigan office locations for a free, no obligation retirement review.
Now listen, in this segment, I want to talk about Roth IRAs and when you might want to do what they call a Roth conversion. Now, when Roth IRAs first came out, I know a lot of folks ran to the accountant, they ran to the advisor, and they said, hey, should I do this or not? And that advisor, that accountant maybe rendered an opinion, and then you've never looked at it again. Folks, this is something that has to be looked at every single year. There's people that are, let's say, in the lower tax bracket. Okay, they've got their IRA money. Now remember, our IRA money's never been taxed. So every dollar we take out is going to be taxed. So knowing that, and knowing that you have a partner in that account, Uncle Sam, possibly state of Michigan, that when you take that money out, they want their share, trying to minimize that the best way we can is huge. So we have the ability to do that by doing what we call a Roth conversion. That means take my IRA money, pay the tax on it, and then convert it over and put it into a Roth IRA. Now, what are the benefits of a Roth IRA? Well, now that you've paid the tax on that money, that money now continues to grow tax deferred, just like it did in the IRA. But the beauty is then when you go to pull it out, it's not taxable at all. So the idea of being able to convert IRA money to Roth IRA money is big in tax planning. So if I'm in that low bracket, 15% bracket, and that's what Uncle Sam's going to get every time I take a dollar out, then if I have any room in that bracket at all, why would I not want to accelerate money out of the IRA and getting it over into the Roth IRA as fast as possible? I'm not giving Uncle Sam any more than he would have gotten before, but the earlier I get it into a Roth IRA, the quicker that Roth is going to grow tax deferred and be a bigger benefit for me down the road. Now, right now we've been given a huge opportunity with the Tax Reform Act because the tax rates are about 3% lower than they used to be. So right now, if you were in the 15% bracket, you're now in the 12% bracket. If you were in the 25% bracket, you're now in the 22% bracket. So we've got over the next 6-7 years this huge opportunity to be able to accelerate or use up that bracket. So we're buying out Uncle Sam at 12 cents on the dollar versus 15 cents on the dollar, or 22 cents on the dollar versus 25 cents on the dollar. So taking advantage of this is huge. Now, a lot of people go, Larry, aren't there contribution limits to putting into a Roth IRA? Yes, there's contribution limits, but not when you're doing a conversion. You can pay tax on your entire IRA. It could be $1 million if you're that fortunate enough to have that. And you can convert it over to a Roth IRA. And there's actually no income limitations as well. So if you think you're a candidate for that, then I encourage you. Give us a call. We'll see if you're a candidate. We'd be glad to help you with that. We here at Centennial Wealth Advisory realize that everyone has been affected by this coronavirus in one way or another. We watch our retirement accounts drop significantly in value, and we have questions. Can I retire in a recession? How will the coronavirus affect my retirement? How do I develop an income stream in a recession? Can I still retire this year? If these are concerns of yours, contact us today for a free initial consultation and learn what you can do now to help you weather the storm. Simply call 888-608-5825 or visit sunwealth.com and let us help you plan to retire well. Hi, welcome back. Now listen, in this segment I want to talk to you about the value of having what we call holistic planning, okay? Now, just about every advisor out there is doing what they call investment management, okay? They're managing a portfolio in some way, shape, form, or another. But in holistic planning, you're going to be dealing with a lot more than that, okay? Now, when you're working, you're in what's called the growth and accumulation phase of your life. You've got plenty of time till you're looking to possibly retire, okay? But when you get near retirement or in retirement, you're in what's called the preservation of wealth and income phase of your life, okay? Your needs are much different than the person who maybe is just getting started working, okay? Now, what are some of those needs? Well, income planning is going to be very important, you know? I've grown this retirement savings. Now I got to take income from it when I get into retirement. What's that going to look like, right? What about estate planning? Yeah, that's going to be very important as well. Long-term care, healthcare planning is going to kind of come into the mix, right? Tax planning, very important as well. The point is that there's many questions that have to be answered when we get into this kind of planning. For example, I've got my retirement savings, okay? One of the first questions I'm going to ask is, what account do I pull from? You know, does it make sense to pull my income out of certain accounts versus others? Maybe. What are the tax ramifications if I pull it out of the various different accounts? I'm going to want to know the answer to that because I want to keep my taxes as low as possible. I want to be very wise in how I do that. From an estate planning standpoint, you know, what are going to be the beneficiary designations that I place on these various investment accounts? For example, if you have a trust, you're going to maybe, in a lot of cases, list the trust as the beneficiary. But maybe for an IRA, that may or may not be the best thing to do. You're going to want to know the answer to that. What if I'm somebody who's maybe stopped working, I'm not yet age 65 yet, you know, the age at which I can take Medicare, and I maybe want to get some of those subsidies to help pay for that health care that's out there. Well, now I'm going to want to control my income accordingly. So can you see how all of these have to work together? Now, in some cases, you know, I'm going to want to look at the pros and cons of all those various decisions because some of them can work against each other. Hopefully you can see the value here in that, you know, investment management is a very important thing and the kind of risk I'm taking on in that, but all that other planning has to play a role in it. Again, they have to work together. At Centennial Wealth, this is what we do. We do all that kind of planning. So if any of that is something that you think you need or want to hear more about, then I encourage you, give us a call.
Folks, when I was sitting there talking about Roth conversions, I can't say this enough or stress this enough. You know, this is really something that needs to be looked at every single year. You know, people ran to their accountant, ran their advisor back when Roths first came out. That advisor, that accountant rendered an opinion, and they've never looked at it again. There are times when this can be a very valuable tool. It seems like it's a really great time when you stop working. You know, when you're in your working years and your income's high, doing those conversions might be pushing them up into the higher tax bracket, and that's not how you want to be buying out Uncle Sam, right? So what is ideal is being able to do those when you stop working and maybe you find a little bit more room in that, you know, in that lower bracket. And then wanting to maximize that bracket is going to be something we're going to want to do every year. Now, if we're that person that's fortunate enough to have enough income that we're always going to be in that next bracket, maybe that's that as of 2020, maybe that 22% bracket. And I know that when I have to start pulling out of IRA money, out of IRAs, it's going to be in that bracket. Well, now I'm maybe doing some maximizing in that bracket. We call that tax bracket optimization. So that might be what I have to do. But looking at this every single year is going to be critical. You know, if I'm somebody that even has the opportunity to do partial Roth conversions over time, like, you know, what if that's only $10,000-$15,000 a year? Well, in a 10-year period, that's quite a bit that you were able to convert over that period of time. And with tax deferral, is going to provide a lot of tax-free income. And then when I was talking about the benefits of holistic planning, you know, folks, I can't stress this enough. You know, all these things have to work together. You know, I might be looking at how to maximize Social Security, as I was talking about earlier, trying to develop an income plan. I'm trying to decide when to do a Roth conversion, as I talked about. You know, maybe I'm trying to bridge the gap between, you know, stopping work and waiting to age 65 to take, you know, or get Medicare. Can you see how all that planning at times can, if I'm just looking at one side of it, it could be detrimental to another side. You want all that working together and having a plan accordingly. I'll just give you a good example. Get somebody maybe retiring at age 62. They've got a few years there where, like I was talked in the segment, trying to bridge the gap to Medicare. Well, now we're certainly not going to want to be doing Roth conversions during that period of time because we're trying to, you know, get the subsidies for healthcare, right? So but then the year maybe I turn 65 and now I've got Medicare and I've still got some room in that lower bracket. Maybe now this is a time to start doing Roth conversions, you see? So, you know, this planning, this holistic planning and looking at everything, getting a 10,000-foot view and having a plan as to how to maximize all these issues as we balance them out is going to be very important. So folks, I hope you found that valuable. I want you to stay tuned because in the next segment, I'm going to talk about the 3 success questions you have to answer in making your retirement vision a reality. So stay tuned.
Are you drawing closer to retirement or already retired? Do you feel confident that you have a plan in place for your retirement? At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we believe there are a number of areas within your retirement plan that must be working together. It's very important that you have a long-term income plan. You don't want to run out of money in retirement. And we believe that tax planning should go hand in hand with your income planning. So we have our very own accountant on the team to assist you. We also believe that you need to have your estate planning in order to ensure that your assets are left behind to your loved ones and or charities. Along with that comes insurance planning, whether that's life or health. Along with all of this, obviously comes your investment planning, which you need to have confidence will help you accomplish your goals and objectives. As you can see, there's a number of areas that you need to be taking into consideration when it comes to your retirement planning. We'd love the opportunity to share with you how we approach all of these areas within your retirement plan. Please call the number on your screen.
Three retirement success questions you must be able to answer. First of all, you have to know how much income you need or want in retirement. Now folks, a lot of people will start with what they're making as they're working, right? Wouldn't it be nice if you could enter into retirement making as much as you were when you were working? That would be ideal, right? And that would be a great place to start. But what if we have to kind of put the pencil to the paper, as they say, and kind of nail that number down a little bit? That would be highly recommended, because if we're going to do an income plan, we have to know what income we're planning for. So the first question we have to ask is, how much income do we want or need? Let's start with that number. The second question we want to ask is, how much income can I count on that's guaranteed? All right, there's only a few sources of what we would call guaranteed income. There's Social Security. You know, it's backed by the U.S. government, so hopefully that's going to be good. You've got pensions. Okay, they're going to be guaranteed by either a government or some company. Now, hopefully it's a company that's got good credit quality that's going to be around for a while, because maybe it won't be guaranteed, right? But you know, these are sources of income that we can hopefully count on. Another one might be an annuity, like a TIA CREF or something that's spitting out a guaranteed income. But this is, you know, if we answered the first question, how much income do we want or need? And then we can answer the second question, how much income can I count on to be guaranteed to be consistently coming in? The last question we have to answer is, where am I going to make up the difference? Let's say I want or need this number. I know I can count on this, but what's that? Where's that going to come from? Folks, that's going to have to come from your retirement savings. These are all those accounts that you've been hopefully putting money into to save for retirement. Those IRAs, the 401ks, the 403bs, the 457s. And by the way, all those numbers, all they are is IRS tax codes, okay, showing those sections. So if I know what I want or need, I know what I can count on, and I'm going to try to make up that difference, how do I know how much that difference needs to be? All right. As a general rule, when we're pulling from retirement accounts, we like to use what we call the 4 or 5% rule, meaning that's how much of our savings we can pull and count on for income. Now, it's not brain surgery, because if we can get an account to grow by 4, 5, 6% while we're pulling out 4 or 5%, then that's going to work all day long. But most important, as you can tell, I'm going to have to be sure that that's a consistent income that I can take. So folks, those 3 questions have to be answered. And then once we answer them, putting that together in a plan that also accounts for inflation is going to be very important. So if you're somebody that wants that kind of planning, want an income plan, want to know if you have enough for retirement, then please give us a call.
Folks, when I was talking about the 3 success questions that you have to get answered, you know, we have a lot of folks that'll come into our office. They're just basically asking, can I retire? If I can, when is that? And literally, you know, trying to get the 10,000 foot view. These are the questions we want to ask. You know, what is it? What's the income you need? How much can we count on? And then how much is your savings, right? Because we're trying to kind of put that together. Now, we're going to put that into a formal income plan, but you know, right off the bat, I just want to get a quick view as to, you know, how hard is this going to be to, you know, put this together. You know, we used to have what we called the 3-legged stool. Somebody had pension income, Social Security, and that was meeting their income needs, and then they had a modest amount in savings. Today, the landscape is much different. We're seeing fewer people coming in with pension income. They're counting on Social Security, but they're not sure it's going to be there for them. And then they got everything in those savings account. And trying to turn that into a predictable and sustainable income that they can count on the rest of their life is going to become the challenge. So, folks, if that's you out there, if you're getting close to retirement and you're wanting to answer that question for yourself, you're wanting to know a little bit about tax planning, maybe estate planning, maybe that long-term care, healthcare planning, wealth management, how are we structuring things with the challenges that we face today? If that's somebody like you and you just want to get those questions answered, then by all means, please give us a call. It's a no obligation free visit to just sit down and we can show you what we do and how we do it. And if that's a great fit, then that's good. If not, then maybe we gave you some valuable information in the meantime. So thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next week.